Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode. I'm David McIntyre with Foundations for Success. With me today, I've got Phillip and I've got Lynn, both part of our team at Foundations of Success. And today we're talking about the concept of motivation. I keep hearing, and, Phillip, I shared with you, Lynn, I shared with you, some articles and then just reading on LinkedIn and some connections that I have. And I keep hearing this same common theme when it comes to Gen Z and young professionals. And it's that they're lazy and unmotivated. And, at first I took that just as it was. But the more that I've talked to, members of Gen Z and young professionals, the more I evaluate it, the more I consider my own work and engagement with them. I have to say that I don't think I actually see it like that. Now, I'm sure there are some that are absolutely unmotivated. Every generation has that. But that's exactly my point. I remember as a Gen X, I remember one of the things that was said about our generation was that we were lazy and unmotivated.
Yeah.
And Philip, share with everybody the thing you just shared us about going back to 1800.
Yeah, yeah. There was a guy on Twitter. I don't remember his handle, but he posted a montage of these different articles dating back to the 1800s of all the different times over the generations where people said these young folks don't want to work. They're just too lazy these days and stuff like that. And it's just amazing that that actually has never changed. And it was just article after article from these different newspapers basically saying that the young people don't want to work these days. So I think there's a bit of recency bias. That's the problem here, even with the whole Gen Z thing. It's like there's nothing new under the sun where that's concerned. So,
Yeah. The reality is that they're first of all, let's give them cut them a little slack. Because first of all, many of they're new to the workplace. A lot of
Mhm.
them didn't start to have work when they were teenagers, didn't necessarily do summer job at Chick-fil-A, and all of that kind of stuff. So when they come out of high school or they come out of college or they're just entering the workplace for the first time for whatever reason, look, they're not quite like you. I shared with Lynn yesterday, when you're the HR person in an organization, you have a couple of things already working to your benefit. You kind of know your why, you're locked into your position and you're comfortable with it. You're doing your thing and you found your place where you fit in. And you're interviewing and talking to people who don't know their place, who don't fully know what they want to do with their lives, but they know that they're either passionate about some things and not passionate about others. And so they come into the work environment and look, their first motivation may simply be I got to pay the bills and keep the lights on and a roof over my head.
hmm
And for some, that can be motivation enough. For others, that's a horrible way to live. And I remember, in when I, as a Gen Z, when I started working, you know, it wasn't any fun. And I wanted to have a good time doing whatever I was doing. And
yeah.
so we present these obstacles and we come at these young adults and we want them to work like we work and just do it because that's what we're hiring you to do. And they need much more motivation than just do it because that's what we hired you to do. They need more motivation than that to get their own energy sparked up and to want to drive forward. I want to share with you a definition of the word motivation. And I love this and I think it's a good one. It says motivation is the internal drive or desire to take action toward a goal. It's what gets you going and often what keeps you going, especially when things get hard, boring, or uncertain. Lynn,
Mm.
what's your thought about motivation and just this whole conversation around what it is and isn't and how people get into it and don't?
I agree with you. It has to do with the why. I was one of those and started work. I was 15 when I had my first real job where they took the taxes and all that kind of stuff. And, you just did what people said. That was my generation, obviously. I'm boomer. And I've come to realize that a lot of the people that I work with are in the same place I was when I first got started. And it's not necessarily a lack of motivation, it's a lack of knowing how to find your passion and your why and put it into place and to keep you going. One of the things that I find important, and one of the things I've learned throughout my career, is that as adults, we don't care about anything other than the reason we're doing it. Give me a good reason, help me understand what I'm doing, and I can do it all day long. We worked on a project together, the three of us, and in that project, there was a lot of history that was given about the company we worked with. And that was a period of time that we lost a lot of the interest of the people we worked with and that we were trying to train simply because they didn't care. It did not help them do their job better. If
Mhm.
we could show them the things that help them do their job better, help them get reach the goals that they had set for themselves, most often they were much more successful in the position they were in. And many times it put them in a position where they could be promoted to other things that as they grew, they knew and did more. So I think the why and the motivation is true across all generations. You've got to understand the reason you're doing it, both for the company, other than this is just the way we do it, because those that say why find the ways to make it better for
Mhm.
everybody when you give them the opportunity.
That's good.
Look, I'd so agree with that. You know, finding your why. Look, when I came out of college, um, for the years that I went to college, I wanted to be an actor. I didn't want to go work at a restaurant. But there I found myself. I wasn't on my way to LA to go to Hollywood. I was on my way to Tijuana Fats down Wrightsville Avenue to go wait tables. And I wasn't motivated to do that. But where I did find my motivation at was I enjoyed people and I enjoyed entertaining people. So
Mhm.
what the time at the tables got me was the opportunity to have these conversations, crack some jokes, and entertain people while I served them. I made a lot of
Mhm.
money waiting tables, and I started growing in places that I didn't expect as a result of being able to go from table to table and just entertain people and find out what made them laugh, what moved them, understanding how to read a room, understanding when a table didn't want to laugh, they just wanted their food and wanted to be left alone. And who
Yeah.
knew
Mhm.
that I was learning a skill at that point? It's a wild kind of thing. Philip, what's your thought?
That's good in terms of like the process that happens when you're pursuing like a career goal or things like that. Like you said, David, in the article you wrote recently, that dreams have detours sometimes, and
Mm,
so you may think that what you're doing now has no connection to what you ultimately want to do, but then when you look back and you see kind of the trail of what's happened from the time you started on your journey, you realize, okay, that little side job I took here, the little side hustle I did there, the nights waiting tables, what you've been doing, if you caught the lesson properly, you've been building a skill set in different areas, and nothing really is ever wasted. You're building things that will be necessary for the next thing that you're going to step into. So I think it's important to remember that, because that can also help you in terms of motivation. You may feel like, oh, what's the point in any of this stuff, and so your motivation level can feel low if you feel like you're not really doing what you desire to do. But if you look at it as, you know what, this is a step in the process, and I got to find the hidden gems or the things that I know I can use for later that'll build my skill set to take me ultimately where I want to go.
yeah. In these final couple of minutes that we have, what are some tools that we can give to HR directors, managers, and even to that, young professional out there who's struggling to find their motivation? I don't think we can teach motivation, but um, we can open the door to the things that motivate you.
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
can, and what I think one of those things is finding your purpose. Just like I said with the restaurant, it wasn't my purpose to go work in the restaurant, but working there, I found a purpose that was beneficial to me. And it was beneficial to others over the long term, because now part of what I do is I stand in front of groups of people, I stand in front of cameras, and I converse and share things. And it's not a fearful thing that I do, it's something that I enjoy. And that was born in that time. So I think that purpose is one of those other things. How about you guys?
I agree with you. I think, was it Socrates that said, know thyself? And
Mm.
I think it's important for a young professional. Know what your strengths are, know what brings you joy, know the kind of things that you can build upon. That's what you can make your resume out of. A friend of mine stayed at home. She did not work outside of the home until her children were out of high school. She took all of her volunteer experiences, she's an outgoing person, put all of that on a resume, and is now working in a college. So you've got to know what your strengths and your skills are, no matter where you've been. You've learned and earned a lot, especially through college life, or if you have been in the workplace, but you're looking to branch out to something else. So I think know your strengths and be able to communicate those to a hiring manager or an HR manager so they can help you structure a path to help you grow in that when you get a job.
That's great, Lynn. How about you, Philip?
I would say, and it's maybe a little bit of a different angle on it, I guess, is also identify the negative things you want to avoid, because they can actually help you stay motivated in the right direction. Like I think about, the work that I do on a daily basis. And I think about, if I didn't have this position, where would I be at this point? Avoiding negative things actually, in a way, it can be a powerful motivator to say, I don't want to end up like that. So I'm going to stay on the path and stay diligent and keep my nose to the grindstone, because, any one of us at any time, we got to recognize the opportunities when they come along, and also recognize what we need, what we want to make sure we avoid as we're doing the things that we're pursuing. So, yeah, I say avoidance of negative outcome is also another motivator.
Yep. That's good, Philip. And I think one other thing that I would add to this as we kind of wrap up this portion of our conversation is discover what motivates you. It's okay to, and this is particularly for you leaders, you managers, you HR directors, you know, lead your people to the treasure trough of skills and things and purpose and whys, so
Mhm.
that we can open up that treasure for them and they can begin to discover things. We all need time to discover. We need time to discover who we are, what we like, what we don't like. And when you have a good mentor, a good leader in your life who helps you to begin to explore things that you may have never thought that you were good at, or there was the possibility that you could succeed at, man, that is life changing to have that kind of person or those kind of people in your life who help you to shape yourself into exactly who you want to be and create in you the motivation to go get what it is that you've determined that you. We're glad that you guys have joined us for this conversation. Don't forget, you can read our article on motivation in LinkedIn. The link is below. And also, don't forget about our course, Beyond Day One. This is a great opportunity for you to begin to teach and share with your people some of the expectations that are built into joining the workforce for the first time. I think it is a great orientation type of course that will absolutely positively impact everyone who joins your organization for the first time or who are coming to work for the first time. Young professionals, Gen Z, this is built for you, and we highly recommend that you grab that course out. And finally, don't forget, we've got a free gift to you: 5 things that employers say Gen Z is missing, and how you can apply those things to your life. The links are below. You can get them now. Until next time, I'm David. He's Philip. She's Lynn, and we're out of here.
Goodbye.
See you.